The man who gave my group a tour of the massive dome led us through the food court, which was as big as a city neighborhood, and which had pathways as wide as streets with crowds of people rushing back and forth holding trays of food like students in a cafeteria. The restaurants were set up like stores on actual city streets, the buildings separate from one another, and the signs advertising them erected tall on the corners. When asked why these restaurants advertise if all the food here is free and for people who are new to the multiverse, our guide told us that the corporations like to get brand recognition in early. Some found this disgusting. I found it amusing. I also found the seemingly endless library amusing, the way a child finds a toy store amusing. The whole structure was tiny compared to the entirety of the dome, but compared to a single man it was like entering an airplane hangar. There were at least 10 floors of bookshelves and computer desks, and there were these strange booths you could go into and see a virtual reality representation of a historical event. Imagine my shock. These things could take me, at least virtually, to the actual time and place where legendary moments transpired. These were legendary moments to the multiverse, of course, so I barely understood them at all, but I was still stricken by all the possibilities. Why read about the conquest of a great nation when you can see it for yourself? When I was allowed into one of these booths, I was so taken by the wonder of such advanced technology that I had to be detained and carried out of the library like a prisoner so that my guide could continue his tour. Even as I was led off, my head down and my frown prominent on my face like a spoiled child, I knew that I'd be back there before I went anywhere else. We saw other wonders, arcades where people waged wars with thousands of players on either side. The players entered virtual reality booths shaped like the cockpits of futuristic starships, and on a gigantic screen hanging from the ceiling, the spectators could watch these warriors swooping through the starry upper atmosphere of a lush jungle planet, shooting each other out of the skies. There were other eye-catching wonders, but none of these were exactly the point. Rather than stopping for too long at all these things, we hurried through them, our guide constantly looking up at a digital clock on a nearby wall as if there was a bus he was going to miss. When we reached our final destination, I realized that rather than a bus, there was a train he was trying to catch. Down at the subway station, there were, of course, countless tracks and countless platforms across these tracks where other guys lectured other people like us who were clad in fresh white clothes and looking around with eyes stretched wide. When the trains came in from the tunnels on the far opposite sides of the room, they were not loud but totally silent, and they were not grimy and rusted, but as pristine and white as the delicate clothes we had been given. They slowed to a stop, and the glass doors slid open, and we were corralled in and made to sit uncomfortably close to each other in rowed seats split down the middle by a wide walking aisle. Once the doors closed and the train picked up speed again, we watched through the windows as the station fell away behind us, and we watched through the obscure darkness of the tunnels, the passing pillars holding up the roof, thick and tall like trees. We watched as the darkness fell heavier until even the pillars were invisible, and all that was left was the light from the trains on the other tracks, until even they dimmed out like lighthouses eclipsed by a fog, gone forever in so much black.